Hey everyone, here's another Comic Clerks video, and I'm here to talk to you about Gotham Scarification. So this episode will contain spoilers, so I'm just letting you know beforehand. Alright, so we start this episode with Theo and Penguin having a meeting, looks like. Penguin has delivered him a trunk. Penguin is trying to convince Theo to give him back his mom, telling him that he knows who the boss is, he knows who's in charge, he has no problem with it. As long as he gives his mom back, he'll be, the perfect soldier. Theo declines this. He says, no, that's not happening. But we get a glimpse of, Tabitha, she's checking Butch out because I guess she likes the big macho type. Theo dismisses Penguin, and so him and Tabitha go and open the trunk, which of course there's someone in there. And we find out this guy is the garbage man for Wayne Industries. Every nasty secret, everything the company has done, he supposedly knows all about it. He says he doesn't. He has no idea what they're talking about. But Theo says he does and that he's going to tell them unless he wants to be tortured. But first, they need something from him. So Tabitha walks up to him, asks, should she take left or right? So she pulls her blade out, and the man screams, and we get to pretty much that's the whole start of it. So we go to a scene with a warehouse, and there's a bunch of guys counting money, and this one the strike force rolls in. They're taking guys out, taking names. This is when a guy fires a rocket launcher at the captain. And he's like, where do they get a rocket launcher from, And Harvey tells them that's pretty much Gotham for them. So the strike force handles everything. These guys have confiscated like about $2 million of Penguin's money. $2 million. He's going to be pissed off about that. So the captain wants to know where these guys got the rocket launcher. So Jim tells the captain that there's a place called the Merc, which sells most of the heavy weapons in town, and they haven't been hit because they pay off the city council. So the captain plans to hit this place the next day. He doesn't care about the city council at all. They're hitting this place the next day. So we get back with Penguin, and he's really upset. He just wants to go grab up Theo. He doesn't even want to play anymore. Just go grab him up and torture Theo to tell him where his mom is. So Butch tells him that's not a good idea, and they probably should grab Tabitha if they're going to do anything like that. But Penguin says he thought Theo cares about Tabitha as much as he does his mother. So this is the perfect time for someone to walk in and tell Penguin that the cops hit the count house. That's what they call it, the count house. And that he lost $2 million. So Penguin just loses it. He grabs a poker, starts to beat the crap out of this guy, asking him did he enjoy giving him this news right now. And this is, while Penguin's beating this guy, he gets an idea. So I guess he does his best thinking while dealing out violence. That's how it went down right there. All right, at the GCPD, Leslie and Jim are discussing the strike force when she basically asks them what they're doing tonight, and Jim says he's going to sleep, but she's like, wait a second, no, it's date night, we're doing something tonight. This is when Nigma comes up, and he's like, they should join them for dinner tonight. And Leslie thinks that's a great idea, so she invites them for fondue at her house. Jim is upset about this is because they won't be able to ditch because it's at their place. That's putting Edward Nigma in his house. He's not cool with that at all. So this is when Theo walks in and he puts on an act of him being traumatized by the other night. And Jim tries to give him some advice about getting through it, but we all know it's an act, so we don't believe the crap that's going on. So This is when Theo asks him to endorse him for mayor. Jim, he doesn't want to endorse any politics, so he declines. Alright, so we get to Tabitha and Penguin, and they're having a meeting, and Penguin tells her about his count house being raided, and someone must have betrayed him, and Tabitha really doesn't care, and she just gives him the business that he's supposed to do. She gives him a list of houses to burn down. He pretty much says fine. It's arson. you know he'll be able to do it if he can find someone he can trust to do the job. Tabitha tells him, to stop being paranoid and get his head in the game, because this stuff has to be done, or, something bad will happen to his mom. That's when she gives Penguin something to give to whoever starts the fire. Some little box she gives him. Supposedly they're supposed to use it for whatever they, supposedly for the people who start the fire. So we cut to a scene where someone is banging on Selena's door. We find out that it's Butch, and Butch wants her to take him to the Pike brothers. Selena wants to know why Butch needs her, because the Pike brothers are loyal to Fish. They believe Fish is coming back. Even Selena kind of believes Fish might be coming back. So, all you people who didn't want Fish to come back, Fish might be coming back, you guys. So, Butch says that Selena was Fish's favorite, and she will open doors for him that he can't open. So that's why he needs Selena to help him get to the Pike brothers. So Selena asks for $600 to do this. Butch tells her $350, so they head out pretty much. But when they get there, Butch wants them to act friendly, like, so Selena gets another 100 out of it. So she's not doing anything for free right now. So at the Pikes' apartment, we meet the Pikes' three brothers and their sister Bridget. Selena vouches for Butch pretty much. She gives them the job. They accept it. And, Selena watches how they boss around their sister, which Selena isn't cool with at all, but stays quiet. So she gives Bridget some, she talks to her for a little bit and tries to cheer her up, but that's really not happening. And, she tries, Selena, she tries. But, Bridget isn't having it at this point in time. So we find out, where the Merc is. The Merc where all these weapons are being sold. And we see one of the Pike brothers shopping for supplies. He looks at the price on some demolition charges and decides that it's too expensive. He's just going to steal it. This is when the strike force raids, the Mercs come in, they lock the door down, and this Pike brother takes off. He's out of there. He's not getting caught for nothing. So Jim and the captain pursue him. So they corner him, and the Pike brothers pull out a gun, and this is when Jim and the captain, they start shooting. They're not letting him get a shot off, but one of the bullets hit the charge, and this guy just explodes. So the captain walks up to Jim and asks him, what kind of gun is he packing to do some damage like that? So, we got Jim blowing up little, people now. So, but anyways, we get to Leslie's fondue party, and it looks like it's James late. He did just blow somebody up, so I'm guessing that's a whole bunch of paperwork. But Nigma and Kristen seem to be having a good time. This is when Jim comes in and, Nigma gives a toast. One of his riddles, the less you have, the more you're worth, to friends, I guess. The less you have of friends, the more they're worth to you. That sounds like a pretty good statement to me if you know all about that. So anyways, we get to the Pike brothers. They're pissed off about their brother, wondering how they're going to get this job done. So they decide to use Bridget, who declines. So they pretty much give her an ultimatum. She has to help them or be turned out. Pretty much. This is when she agrees to help to do these arsons. She rather do that than be turned out. So back with Jim, he tells Leslie about Theo, asking him to endorse him for mayor. Leslie tells him that he's a respected figure in Gotham, and he treats it as a burden. Then Jim thanks her for being his therapist. These really, he, you know, Jim is Jim is really just trying to put all this together. I see, but anyways, he he's thinking too much into this. But yeah, he shouldn't endorse Theo. We all know he shouldn't do that. So we get back to the Pike family, and they're walking Bridget through setting up an explosive. So they tell her she has to open a safe, and before she leaves, in her bag they gave her a box with an eye. So I guess you guys all remember this is the box Tabitha gave Penguin. So it looks like we know why she wanted to know if she should take the right or left. She was taking this guy's eye. So Bridget opens the safe, grabs an old knife, and books it. So the bomb explodes, catches Bridget in the explosion, catching her leg on fire. So, but we find out like that's the first stop for the night. They got a couple more places to hit. So at the GCPD, the captain and Jim are going over the arson, and so the Pike brother or the Pike family now, since Bridget's part of it, they're wondering why these guys would hit 5 places in one night, and that they need to find a pattern and find out who's doing this. So from that first one they did, they went out and did 4 more jobs. So 5 places in one night. They're a busy family. So with Bridget, she seems to be unboxing stuff, putting something together. This is when Selena pops up and asks, Bridget what she's doing, and Bridget tells her that she's making a suit so that she doesn't get burned again for after what happened the night before. So Selena is pretty much there for the knife, and Bridget tells Selena that she enjoyed, going out on this, you know, these trips with her brothers, and Selena warns her that she's gonna get herself killed pretty much. This is when they start arguing about each other's family. I guess, Bridget's father used to bang, the brother's old man. Selena, she had been searching when she came into the Narrows. She had been searching for her mother, couldn't find her. So they both have a different definition of family. So they argue about this, and Selena decides it's time for her to leave. So with Penguin, we see that he's studying the knife, and it has the Wayne's family crest on it, and wonders why Theo wants it. Butch tells him that there's a lady named Edwidge who runs an antique shop and pretty much knows everything, about old stuff. She knows things. That's pretty much what he says. So Penguin has him bring Edwidge to him, and she says she doesn't know anything about the knife. And this is when Penguin threatens to tell her what it is or he's going to use it on her. So she goes into a story, about that the knife involves, certain powerful families of Gotham. So we get a story about an ancestor of the Waynes called Celestine Wayne, who was promised to the eldest son of the Elliot family, but was found with a son of the DeMar family together. So looks like she was stepping out on the guy she was supposedly betrothed to, and his name was Caleb DeMar. So Caleb DeMar says that they were in love, but Celestine says Caleb forced himself on her. I've heard that story. So supposedly Caleb forced himself on her. This is when the Waynes, they just, they believe their sister, and they chop off Caleb's arm. Well, not his arm, his hand. They chop off Caleb's hand, and I guess after they do that, they seize the Dumar's assets and pretty much banish them from Gotham. Pretty much wipe them from the history of Gotham. So I guess we see why Theo's came back, and he's a little pissed off about everything. So this is why, Theo is there. I guess they had to change their name to Galavan. A Penguin is really happy about this information and thanks Miss Edwidge. He's ecstatic about this information that he's gotten. So at the GCPD, Jim finds out that all the buildings being burnt down are properties of Wayne Industries. Harvey and Jim figure out which one they're hitting next and plan to stake it out. All right, so we cut right back to Penguin, and he tells Butch to have a drink, and he pretty much teases Butch that he's the only one that Penguin can trust because Butch has to do everything that he says. So that's the only person Penguin trusts right now. So Butch says that he's starting to sound a little paranoid, and Penguin's like, yeah, I'm starting to sound paranoid. I'm probably going mad because Theo has my mom. That's why he's going nuts. So he keeps making Butch drink more and more and tells Butch he found Theo's weakness, tells Butch how Theo is out for revenge against the Waynes, and that's how he's going to get him. He's emotional about this. He's going to get Theo, that's how he's going to be able to take down Theo. So he tells Butch about his plan, that he's going to that Butch is going to go to Theo and tell him that Penguin has gone mad and he needs work. So Butch is like, that's going to be a tough sell, and Penguin's like, yeah, it's going to be a tough sell, but I know the exact way, to make it sell. And this is when he grabs Butch's hand and chops it off. So he went with a stream that the whole Celeste and Caleb thing, gave him a brilliant idea to cut people's hands off. He took it a little too far on that one. He really was ruthless. Penguin's not playing around to get his mom back. All right, so we get to Jim and Harvey, and they're on a stakeout. While Harvey gives Jim a rundown on his chili dog, they see the Pike family van pull up, and we see Selena watching from a fire escape in the distance. This is when Bridget gets out the van with a flamethrower, and that's when Jim and Harvey decide they're going to turn up, making the Pike brothers take off in the van. Bridget is just left there, standing there, holding this flamethrower, and it decides to go off, and she just starts blowing it, making this huge wall of fire. And so this flamethrower starts to act up, it starts to click, it's not blowing anymore, and this is when Officer Garrett decides to come up behind her and grab her, but she accidentally sets it off on him, and he gets set on fire. So Bridget dips out after this, and this is when Selena comes to her rescue, and they get out of there. So I'm guessing this is the start of our Firefly origin. I know people might be upset about the gender change, but I believe in the comic there is one where Firefly is a girl. I can't remember which one, but I believe there is one where she's depicted as a female. So I'll have to look that up, but I don't see any problem with changing her Firefly's gender at all. So I'm okay with that. So back at the GCPD, we find out that Garrett died. He didn't survive after this. So the captain wants him to find the guy who did this, to Garrett. And this is when Jim, I guess Theo, he's in the GCPD trying to, get votes or something like that. And this is when Jim, he walks up to him and agrees to endorse him. No, Jim, no. Theo's the bad guy. Do not endorse him. He's trying to screw you. Don't do that. So Theo returns home, and there's someone in a cloak waiting for him, and we find out his name is Father Krill. And, Theo assures the father that everything's going good, the plans are in motion, everything's paying off. This is when the father asks him if if they have Bruce Wayne or not. So Theo says not yet. That's not, he's got to move some pieces together before he has the chance to grab Bruce. And so this is when Father Krill says that their brothers are crossing the sea, pretty much to bathe Gotham in blood. And Bruce Wayne will die. Alright, you guys, so that pretty much was the end of the episode. I can't wait for next week's episode. This episode seemed like really I don't know, it was trying to hop from, Penguin and Firefly and all that stuff, but I thought it was pretty good. I really enjoy Firefly, Pike Brothers, all these pyros in this episode, I enjoyed it. It was awesome. So if you like this episode, leave it in the comments what you liked about it. Tell me what you think is what you think you want to happen in this season, Tell me, tell me what you hated about this episode. Let me know, you guys. All right, this is another video of Comic Clerks, and have a good day, you guys.